Hi everyone, I've had some emails recently about how to research tennis matches, so I'm going to go through that now. There's lots of details you can go into, and you could argue lots of details you should go into. What I'm going to go through today is just the base check that I do on every match, and it's something that you can do in about a minute. And whilst you can go and should go into extra detail after this base check, quite often it does give a good indication of how we can expect a tennis match to go. The best way of predicting future performance is past performance. And let's face it, unless you've got a crystal ball shop down the road, is all we've got, so we use stats. I use Tennis Insight, and let's go through and have a look at one of today's matches in Stuttgart. And we'll do Petkovic and Kerber. Okay, and obviously this is going to take a little bit longer than it would if I was doing it for myself because I'm explaining it as I go. But this literally can be done in about a minute. Okay, so we look at, first thing I look at is the head-to-heads. Okay, 11 meetings between them. Kerber leads 8-3. Most recent was in 2017 on a hard court. Today's match is on a clay court. Big difference between hard and clay, take that into account. She also won in Charleston on clay, although that was the American green clay, which is a little bit faster than the red that they're on today. Petkovic's last win was 2011. You see all her three wins were together there. Just bear in mind that for all those three wins, she was the highest ranked player. 24 against 48, 24 against 50, and 36 against 52. Again, take that into consideration. And just look at how they did. The only other clay game was back in 2005. Very low significance. The player that she was, and that they both were, 14 years ago, not really relevant to today. So that's the first part of the check. Then go into activity, and we're looking at results on all surfaces. And the main ones that I'm looking here are for the last 12 months and for this season. And I'm looking initially at the win percentage. So if we look at 12 months, flick between them there, you can see that Kerber's got better overall results. 70% v 54 in the last 12 months, 69% against 46% this season. And also just have a look at the last 10 matches. And again, she's 7 out of the last 10, 4 out of 10 for Petkovic. Then we'll look at today's surface and the relative results. 12 months, 77% v 57. Just be careful when you're comparing those. Occasionally you'll have a player that's played, I don't know, 50 matches, and the other player might have only played a dozen. So just take that into consideration as well. That can throw up some odd percentages. Another thing that I look at is return on investment. The reason I do that, I use return on investment because it takes into consideration to some degree the quality of opponents that they played. One thing on there, for the top players, they're usually priced pretty low at the start of the majority of the matches, so it's not always that relevant if you've got a really high ranked player against a much lower one. Didn't explain that very well, never mind. You get what I mean. Okay, I didn't explain that very well. It doesn't matter. Of course it does, moron. Return on investment. The higher ranked players will often start a match priced very low, 1.2 and lower. Because of that fact, it's very difficult for them to build up a high return on investment, whereas a player who's ranked around, I don't know, 50 to 100 say, will often be playing against opponents who are higher up the rankings than them. They've got a decent chance of getting some wins that will really boost their return on investment. So if you've got a high ranked player against a much lower ranked player, return on investment isn't always a good indicator of their chances. Hope that's a little bit clearer. Back to the idiot. Now again, Kerber hasn't played this season on the clay. Petkovic, 2 out of 1. Beat Lepchenko in Charleston, lost to Sakari. Beat Sorribes Tormo in the last round there. I expected that to go the other way. Tormo had a nightmare on serve. So just from that very quick check, I said it would not take a minute to go through if it was just for myself. Obvious advantage to Kerber. Head to head stronger. Overall results are stronger. Clay results are stronger, and even so, Kerber will usually be very short priced. She's got a better return on investment on clay as well. Okay, you can then start looking down at results at this tournament in previous years. Kerber won it 2016, 2015. She retired last year. Can't read too much into that one. Petkovic. Not a great result there. She's quarterfinal in 2011. So you're going back 8 years. How relevant is that? And that was her best result at this tournament. So very quick, easy to do. If you haven't researched a match and you see that one's about to start, you can use this method to give you a good idea of how things are going to go. Hope that's useful. Drop me any questions in the comments, and I will see you on the next video.